White House officials across the board today have been fanning out on the media to convey the message to Beijing that nothing has changed in terms of the U.S. adherence to a one-China policy. White House officials again insisting that the United States does not recognize Taiwan's independence. And what they're wondering here, of course, is whether some of those live-fire military drills are the extent of the Chinese response, or whether as we heard earlier from National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, they assume there might be further reactions from the Chinese in the days and weeks ahead. Nancy Pelosi has written a piece for the Washington Post. It'll be published in the Wednesday edition of the newspaper, absolutely pugnaciously defending her trip and saying that in the face of the Chinese Communist Party's accelerating aggression, our visit to Taiwan should be seen as an unequivocal statement that America stands with Taiwan. White House officials were unable to explain what exactly she meant by that. They were challenged as to whether Nancy Pelosi was perhaps indicating that the United States was in some way ready to recognize Taiwan's independence. They said they couldn't speak for Nancy Pelosi, but they could simply assure everyone that the Biden administration's approach to China and Taiwan had not changed. Up on Capitol Hill, there was a coming together of opinion. Republicans and Democrats, many of them signing on to a joint statement backing the Speaker of the House of Representatives' visit in what one has to say here in Washington was a rare display of unity.
My view, and I think the view of a number of senators, is that we should close ranks now and not let the Chinese Communist Party try to drive wedges between American elected officials or the White House on whether or not she should be there. She's there. We're supporting the trip, and we're closing ranks behind her.
Now, the White House pushes back at suggestions that the Biden administration didn't want this trip to happen, although certainly the president had disclosed a couple of weeks ago that the Department of Defense viewed it as potentially unhelpful. And there was criticism today of the trip in the pages of the New York Times from the respected foreign affairs columnist Tom Friedman, who described the trip as utterly reckless and went so far as to suggest that Nancy Pelosi was running the risk of sparking World War III. So support on Capitol Hill, but not at least in the opinion pages of the New York Times on Tuesday.